Welcome back to Wellness and Wonder for another episode, number 18. Today I'm with Jono. Ciao, Jono.
Ciao.
He's an amazing movie director, and today we're going to talk about his experience of life, its philosophy behind his movies, and so much more. Jono, welcome to Wellness and Wonder.
Thanks for having me. It's a very flattering intro that you just gave me. Thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, of course, I prepared a few questions for you because I'm so curious about your work and I can't wait to interview. So, first of all, of course, as a movie director, I know that you must be very empathetic, Jono, in life and while you work. And you must also have a big sense of the wellness because of the message you're going to spread to the world. But at the same time, you have to think of your own needs also. So how do you manage all these big emotional phase during the movies?
I don't manage. No joking. I do. I mean, look, it's like spinning plates essentially. Yeah. It's like work and life. They are, for me at least, intertwined. They're very much. I can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
So it's about maintaining the balance, as I said, keeping the plate spinning.
Yeah.
And again, it's just. The idea of like being a director, and working in TV and film, people can think that's a very glamorous lifestyle, with the director's chair and the cigar. Yes. But actually, there's a lot of boring work that has to also go into it, and you have to sort of get through the day until you get to the good stuff as well. I think it's really important.
Absolutely. So, how did you start this adventure? Why are you a movie director?
Well, I'm a couple of things as well. I don't like to, as Oscar Wilde once said, to define is to limit. Yeah. So, it just sort of found me in a way. I think, as I said, I've had a number of different guises over the years. Been very fortunate to live in different countries as well. And for me, a lot of what I was doing never really felt right. I was a traveling salesperson.
Oh, wow.
for a number of years. Yeah. But it felt like I was living in someone else's body.
So you were the guest of your own self?
In a way, that's sometimes how it felt. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed doing it. It was fantastic. I like selling things to people, especially things that kind of give people joy. Yeah. I think, as a salesperson, that's what you want. You want to be able to improve clients or people's lives. But it never really felt like it was me. And I very much felt that I wanted to present myself and my own thoughts to the world. And therefore, that's where the idea of moving into film came from. But,
interesting.
When I was younger, I was a model. So
you were a model. You can see that, Jono is such a model.
It's just the good lighting in here.
A British model.
Yeah. So it was funny. So I was in front of the camera and a little bit of acting as well. But as much as I enjoyed it, I really did. Again, it didn't really feel me. I needed to use my mind a bit more.
Yes. So, of course, there is a big difference between acting and being a movie director. But don't you think it's the best to be an actor first and then being a movie director, as you can see both perspectives?
I agree. Yeah, totally. I think it really helps to get as a director. Yeah, it really helps to make sure that the talent. I don't mean to use that word lightly, but it's true that everyone's got their own talent. Yeah. That you're getting the best from them, that you're making them feel as comfortable as possible, that you're with them in the experience, that everyone, the production team, everyone is doing the best that they can to elevate the final product.
Yes.
So I think it's really important. The thing is, I never went to acting school, but the one thing I used to do was a lot of the ad lib classes that you could improv classes that you can go to, because I think it's really important to keep those cylinders in your brain firing. So
absolutely.
You're always on point, and you're always you're utilizing your emotion. But I don't like the exercises and things like that. I prefer to freestyle a little bit.
So what do you mean with freestyle?
So I mean, look,
to get crazy.
Well,
no rules.
Well, that's improv. So with improv, you could get a teacher that says to you, you're all standing in a room, you've never met before.
Yeah.
And then the improv teacher says, okay, guys, now can you act the color yellow? And so, you've got to just say yourself,
oh my God.
Now be a peach, like that. Now be a giraffe. So it's almost going back to what you were as a child, so to speak. And it's really important, especially for creativity, that you, as I said, you sort of fire those elements in your brain up. That adolescent mind can still whir.
Also, it's not easy sometimes to get so creative. So they push you this way to be even more, because it's not easy to represent a color, I suppose. Right. So they tease you in a way. It's like a teasing. Is that no?
I don't think it's teasing. I think what it is, it just gives people confidence.
Okay.
So, you know, it's not just actors that go there. It's, you know, it's people that, you know, feel that they need to be able to, you know, hold themselves higher, you know, in society or in their business. Or people that are learning English as a second language as well. You know, it's really important. You know, again, it just gives people confidence to be
amazing. So they give you confidence. It's so true. Acting is one of the best ways to become confident and empathetic, and to really to accept your own personalities. Yeah, you discover so much about yourself while you act.
I agree. And I actually think everyone, just like everyone, I believe, can paint. Yeah, everyone can act. Actually, everyone can. But I think you also have a good team of people around you working with you, and I think that's really important. It's a two-way process. That's what it is.
Absolutely. And so what's your favorite character? Okay, before going to the other amazing questions that I prepared for you, Jono.
Being grilled. So
be careful.
Be careful what I say.
Which was your favorite character when you were young, when you started acting? Which was your favorite role to interpret?
Okay, well, I never really did acting full time, but that was the thing. But I mean,
yes, at the beginning, which was your favorite character? As a movie director now, I'm very curious.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love the classics from the 80s, you know, late 70s, early 80s. Obviously, you know, the Spielberg and Lucas.
Oh, the best.
They are Cameron. So obviously, you know, Star Wars, I was obsessed with. I would obsessively watch Star Wars.
Me too. I love it.
Oh, really?
Yes, Star Wars is so magical. It's actually so unreal and surreal, but so real at the same time.
No, I know. I love it. And also, but the good thing about Star Wars is that actually the plot lines fall into a very traditional way of storytelling that goes back, you know, millennia since, you know, the Greek classics.
Yeah.
One of my, again, a fantastic book is by an American, I think he's like behavioral sociologist and psychologist, Joseph Campbell.
Wow.
And he did a whole series about myths, you know, and the logic behind myths and why we have them in society. And he sort of created this sort of chart which you can follow through, and all of like the beats and plot points of the majority of films all the successful ones all follow this same outline, but obviously told and done in different ways. So Star Wars does that really, really well, and that's probably why it's, you know, we're still making those types of films today.
Many people have been complaining about the new Star Wars. Don't you believe there is a big difference, but still they keep the magic of the stories, and the characters are always so funny. And
gosh, because it's like really untoward here, because, you know, Disney, if you're out there, please take me. I'm ready. It's not. How long have you got with this? I personally, if you want to talk about the three main films from the Skywalker trilogy that have come out over the last 10 years.
I just want to know your impression, because now we have to talk about your amazing projects.
Okay. I didn't like them. I didn't like them.
You didn't like them.
I didn't like the new ones.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Disney, please work with me. I'm here.
Perfect.
I'm ready.
John is very honest. We appreciate it.
I have to be. I think Disney know that as well, though. I think that they've realised that. I mean, just the last point on this, I think for me it was the script. And the structure of the story, and it was sort of like pulling in lots of different threads, and it just felt like a mess to me. I needed to keep things a bit more simple, and also I felt at times it took itself too seriously and the humor wasn't on point. That's it. I'm going to say, and move on from there.
Amazing. The script is so amazing. I agree with you. It's magical. So the other question for our amazing movie director, Jono, is...
My hair's getting larger as we do. Sorry to interrupt.
Don't worry, you look great.
That's my hair gel just before this interview. Yeah.
So do you usually look for perfection along your works, or is it perfectly imperfect the right answer for you?
I think I do prefer perfection. I'll be honest with you.
Perfection.
But that comes with a caveat in regards to nothing is ever perfect. Yeah. And I think it comes to an extent that, especially in the editing process, where you can do so much now with technology, you know, if you want to, you know, take out this rose, is that a rose? I think it is. You could take it out digitally, you know, you could keyframe and whatnot, and, you know, take this, you know, just keep the stem there if you want to. And that's what I'm saying. So you could really go down so many different rabbit holes in regards to the post-production editing process that you don't know when to leave alone.
Yeah.
And things do annoy me, but whether anyone else would notice what annoys me,
yeah,
well, that's much to be decided. You know, does it take away from the storyline? Is it so distracting that you know that you'll miss the part of the script or the plot point or something, you know, that you should be focusing on? That's, I think, the most important thing. So it's a give and take.
It's a give and take.
I'm still learning that.
Absolutely. But sometimes imperfections can look perfect at the same time, because we don't like things to be perfect all the time. So would you say that a movie maker should be less focused on perfection and more focused on letting it out? Or would you say that perfection is one of the main characteristics of making a movie?
I think it's whatever needs to get you there to tell the story. You know, I mean, I sort of disagree in regards to saying that people don't like perfection, because there are directors, Wes Anderson is a fantastic example of that, and same with Kubrick, who love to use symmetry. And, you know, symmetry is very pleasing to the eye, and, you know, they spend a lot of time to sort of create those shots. Whereas then you have sort of more grittier directors that want to focus on that sort of kitchen sink aesthetic, you know, where everything's sort of already in its place, and, you know, almost more of a documentarian way about creating a film. I think for me, though, I just sort of fall more on the pleasing to the eye. You know, first bite is in the eye, so they say.
Yes, we like it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
that's my motto. Put that on a t-shirt.
Amazing. So, Jono, as a movie director, you love feeling connected to people. So I'm very curious to hear your story about the last year during COVID, because as a movie director, you need to feel connected. You need to explore people just to also to get inspired in a way. So how did you spend all this time alone? What did you do?
It was tough. I'll be honest with you. I think for everyone,
yeah,
you know, we're not used to our lives being upended. And to be told that you can't go out the door. So a lot of that time, I was climbing up the walls. But, you know, as I told you, I did actually, unfortunately, fall sick with COVID. I was in bed for 10 days. You know, I couldn't breathe properly.
I remember your bad experience with COVID, but you've been very strong, and actually after 1 week, you were fine.
Yeah, so I'm fine with that. We're going to get semantics of that. But yeah, so after dealing with that, after keeping that, you know, after COVID keeping me busy, I sort of had to sort of pick your life up again and sort of retain focus. I mean, yes, it's very difficult to keep that creative momentum go, you know, to really keep that train moving, without being inspired, without being around lots of different people, without that physical connection. You know, I feel very lucky that we are here today, talking with each other in a physical presence rather than over Zoom, because for me, maybe I'm a bit old school, but that doesn't do it for me. I need to be able to pick up on people's nuances. You know, there's lots of unspoken language that isn't just verbal. And for me, looking through that on a screen doesn't really have the same impact. So in one sense, it was good because it did allow me to sort of knuckle down and focus on some projects that I had in the back of my mind. I was very thankful that I had that. You know, the problem was as well, you couldn't film. So so half of my job, I'm not able to do it, and therefore you can't, you know, commissions. There's no budgets. So yeah, it was very much. I don't want to go back to that period, but
yes,
yeah.
I'm sure, of course, because I know you already. I'm sure you have been writing a lot about future plots or about ideas. So maybe it was the best time to focus on your ideas or on your inner creativity instead of focusing on actions.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, look, you have to keep positive, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, you know, the old adage of everything happens for a reason. You have to sort of, when you're in that situation, you have to firmly believe in it. And you know, look, I mean, in one sense, that it was a comfort to say, look, I've got a roof over my head. You know, the majority of my bills are paid. You know, I had food on the table. Those are the most important things. Yeah. You know, so and then from that onwards, yes, the motivation and to be creative and to knuckle down and focus is certainly the next important thing.
Yes, actually, we have been learning along the last year to motivate our own selves without the need of feeling motivated by others. We have to be able to motivate our own selves.
Only you can do it.
Only you can do it. People really help us, though. Well, people help us a lot.
They make it easier.
They make it easier.
They make it easier. Yeah. But it's just like everything in life, really and truly, it's all internal. You have to do it yourself, and you have to keep pushing, and you know, keep whatever it is, keep cracking at whatever you're going for. Keep on at people as well. I think that's really important. Something that I have to face. People don't get back to emails. That drives me absolutely insane. I can't tell you, because I'm always someone that does, you know, whoever they are, wherever they are, even if I'm busy, eventually I will always try and get back to them. I think that's really important. And this is really interesting, again, you know, you're talking about, you know, being isolated. Sorry.
Yeah. Please, Jono, no, because you motivate so much people with your projects. That's actually one of your goals.
Yeah, well, and to pay people as well, and to pay myself. I think that's really important.
Obviously.
If you do a job, you do it well, and you deserve to be paid for it, or there should be some sort of credit, you know, in regards to, you know, you can feel progress. That's really, really important. So, yeah, I think you've got to pick yourself up, pull yourself up, and also pull everyone around you and make that sort of a communal effort. That's the only way.
Amazing. How do you usually, of course, one of the reasons why you create these beautiful documentaries and movies is because you want to spread your messages, you want to motivate people, and you want to also to touch very delicate topics that we're going to go through now together. But we really need to inspire people. How would you motivate people around you as a movie director, as an artist?
Well, as I said, they also have to put themselves in a position.
Yes.
So, for instance, which we can talk about, the short film that I've just finished, thankfully, with Del, who, again, I've known for a number of years, and he's a fantastic trained theatre actor. He hasn't had much experience in front of the camera. And again, the opportunity came about to create something. And, you know, he put himself in that position. And what I asked of him to do, he took to that 129%. And I think that's really important. You know, I mean, he really stepped up to the plate. And, you know, I had the guy working basically half naked in a freezing cold park, and then got him to smoke 3 cigarettes.
Oh my God.
And then made him do a love scene for 2 hours. You know, the poor guy was shattered afterwards, as he would be. All with trying to retain a presence in front of the camera. I mean, you know, and all the rest of the stuff that's going on in someone's life. So, again, that's what I ask of people, and it works both ways. You know, I think hopefully, you know, I want to give the best to people. I want to make them the best that they can be as well, and vice versa. You know, I mean, I want to only produce work that is of a high quality and a high standard. I think that's really important. You know, it's to represent you as well.
So in fact, regarding this, Jono, which kind of philosophy do you follow beyond your project movies? Does it change every time you make a different film, or is it always the same? Because you're such a deep person, so I'm very curious to hear your philosophy behind your projects.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, so there is a differentiation, obviously, with the factual documentary stuff, which is more history-based, which I love.
Amazing. I saw your documentaries. Very impressive.
Very sweet. Thank you. You know, again, that is telling a story, though. There is a narrative structure there as well. Slightly more hidden, I suppose you could say. But, you know, there's a start, mid, and an end. Well, sometimes not always. Because there can be think pieces as well. And actually, I find with factual documentaries, doing sort of more think pieces where it's not as a linear narrative can be quite tough, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. But I don't enjoy that as much. But in regards to more the films, are they all similar? I think I need a few more years to work that out in regards to the question. I mean, there's lots of external factors as well that you have to take into consideration, you know, with doing any film. You know, if there's a client involved, so it's a brief.
If it's a commission.
If it's a commission, you know, I mean, there's things that I wouldn't even think about, you know, before starting a project, that the legal team of a company would start flagging. So actually, Jono, sorry, you can't do this, or we can't have that. So for instance, you know, in this film that I made called Floating Gold, which was for MCQ, which is I guess they're under the house of Alexander McQueen, and you can see that online. It's on YouTube. Please check it out. Please do. There was a scene where one of the characters, Cole, goes for a pee in the middle of the night, right, on the beach. So, you know, you don't see anything untoward. You know, it's all above, you know, above the waist, so to speak.
Yeah.
Very PG-13. But what I did include was obviously the sound, the urinating sound.
Amazing.
You know, why wouldn't you do, you know, if someone's peeing, everyone pees, you know.
Yeah. If you have the support behind, why not be more creative?
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, and they had it in there for a while, and I'm surprised it was even in the script and they allowed it through. But then it came to a process and a point where they said, sorry, Jono, we can't have the peeing sound in
so they didn't
the
allow
film.
you?
Well, they wanted to take it out, but I did a workaround. Basically, I took the sound out, so it just looks like he's just sort of standing there in the middle of the night on a beach. As to why, well, I guess your brain can fill in the rest, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes what you don't see and hear, your brain can can accommodate. So,
absolutely.
So it is in there, but the sound was out.
That's why. Do you prefer working under a commission or following your own projects and ideas? Of course, it's nice to receive commissions because you know what you have to do. You create something beautiful for someone that is believing in you. But at the same time, it's very annoying when they don't allow you to be creative as much as you want.
Well, yeah, first of all, yeah, commissions are great because you get paid.
Yeah.
You can see that you've got a budget. That's a fantastic thing.
That's
let's
fantastic.
Be honest here.
Yeah.
And it's important. And as I said earlier, people should be paid correctly.
Yes, absolutely.
And then
also because of the cost behind the movie. I mean everything has a cost, and as we said, perfection.
This is the funny thing, because you start looking at budgets, you think, God, there's a lot of money for that. But actually, when you start whittling down and you start going through the line budget, and the spec, suddenly all the you end up having to pay them money. Yes,
but let's not talk about money, Jono, because you are one of these amazing believers that it doesn't only work, with the goal of earnings. All his projects are made.
Sorry, we can move on from that.
So no, you're very special, no, because people are so scared not to not to earn enough money, and so they don't really work on the project they're dreaming of. So Jono is an example of building things because he believes in it, not only for the success of money, but for the success of the final result.
That's very flattering again. Very flattering. Going back to your original question. Usually, I tend to approach brands or channels, and I'll have a concept that's already in mind, and I do tend to leave just a little bit of room there that they, if they want, can have their own say or angle. So it needs to be a marriage, right? It needs to be a marriage between the creative or the director and say the company, the brand, and the channel, and it's about sort of that sort of medium, that midway point, at that very early process in regards to what do you expect out of this, what can I deliver to you, how can we accommodate each other? I think that's really important. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Yes, I completely understand. So do you still build the connection with the person that asked you for this commission, or do you just build the connection with your team as always? Do you? Both.
Yeah, and again, I'm very fortunate, and it's about what you were saying earlier in regards to working with lots of other people.
Yeah.
That you work with people that are tried and tested entities that you've worked with them before, and again, you've got to start somewhere with people. But then it's just like they need to give me a chance, and I need to give them a chance. But once you've sort of found like a good team, a network of people that you can trust, rely on, they'll turn up. They'll turn up on the day, on time, or even earlier. They're willing to give 100%. Yeah, and they believe in you, and you believe in them. Those are the people that you need to keep, and you need to do the best that you can do in order to make them as happy and accommodate them as possible as well.
As like a family working on a baby together.
Right, I've got many babies around. For us, I'm unaware.
It's like a baby. You take care of him all together.
Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it. Yeah. I think friendships are very, very important. Working friendships are certainly very equally important. And they're both. A lot of people that I've worked with are now my friends, and I love that. That's really important to me. And again, we were talking about earlier about inspiring people as well. And I think it's really good to know that other people are doing similar things to you, or they're going through similar circumstances, and they can ask you for advice, and and vice versa.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now I want to tell our guests and friends that Jono, one of the topics that always lies behind his projects is mental health. So it's the hidden topic that he always brings this out, because he finds it of fundamental importance to take care of our mental health, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't show it as usually people do. He shows it going to the darkest point of it. So it shows with so much transparency what's actually the real problem is. And in many projects, we can find this topic of mental health. So why is so important to let people understand that having problems in our mind is not a problem, but we just have to be aware of them, going through them instead of rejecting our fears, going through them, understanding them.
I think it's very important in regards to the media that the subject is as accessible as possible and is open to as many people as possible. And I think, as I said, I think that the medium of like TV and film is really important in doing that. You know, it's almost like the new religion in a way, I think. So just like religion taught people, you know, how to navigate through their lives, I think now it is the role of TV and film. And as I said, sorry, within that, mental health should certainly be a subject which needs to be certainly discussed, and done in different ways as well. You know, I mean, my most recent short film that you know, Forgive Me, Father.
Please, let's talk about it.
Is about, well, sexual and mental health. So there again, there's another underlying issue in society that we don't talk about, sexual health either. But you know, I think, you know, we all have sex. It's all something we go through. And, you know, there's can be a lot of anxiety in many different ways in regards to that. I mean, you know, we have our whole society's almost built around sex, but the idea of talking about things like STIs aren't still really as discussed as much as they should be, because they are prevalent. Let's be honest.
Yes, but people prefer to hide problems instead of being transparent and going through them. That's why I think a movie is the perfect way to actually to show people what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, look, it can be embarrassing.
It can be embarrassing.
Of course, it can be. Yeah, I mean, and so can mental health issues as well. And I think if I can help people, you know, make them feel that they are not alone, that they're not, that they're
in this kind of crazy dark thoughts.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, my way about dealing with the world is thankfully through a creative entity, an element, and I like the idea about going about it that way. And for some people that doesn't work for them, and maybe they need to go about it in a different way. But I think creativity is very important to discuss this.
Even in mental health, so using creativity to discuss mental health, because at the end of the day, we want to have a reaction from people. We want to get a reaction. Can either be bad or can be good, but the reaction is the most important.
Yeah.
And if something touches you, it's because something is going into your mind and you're curious about it. So sometimes people, maybe they have prejudices about problems and fears. They shouldn't. There is creativity even behind mental health problems.
Yeah.
So much creativity, actually.
Well, you do have to be brave, I think.
You have to,
you do have to step up to the plate and say, okay, you know, let's rip the plaster off. You know, let's just, you know, take a deep breath and just go for it. And, you know, almost not care if people don't like what you do as well. I think that, again, that's really important. I mean, I've done, for the last couple of years, I've done so many different projects, some of which some people really love and other people really hate and detest. And then there's other, well, right, but you're not really taught that, in school or when you're growing up, that your creative output, because also when you're making these things, you think, this is brilliant. Everyone's going to love this. This is the best thing ever. And then it comes out and you get that sort of feedback loop from people. And then also you internally as well, you have that as well. I mean, throughout the whole process. Sometimes I've been on set and I think, what the hell am I doing here? What's going on? What have I created?
If I was a movie director, I would say that the indifference would be the only thing that would bother me. Otherwise, even a bad reaction, I understand it because we have different.
At least it's reaction.
Perceptions.
Right, but at least it's reaction. That's what I like.
At least we have a reaction. That's what we like.
Better than nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. Better than a muted response.
Yes.
Which I've also had. People just don't mention something.
So maybe some people don't get the messages. That's why as a movie director, it's so difficult to really bring the messages you want to bring into the open. Because it's so difficult. Many people don't read your mind. They don't read your kind of thoughts. So many people can have different perceptions. And so it's normal to have negative responses sometimes.
Well, I've had that with comedy and satire. I've gone about and made things, which again, I can be very passionate about. And again, some people really love it and other people just can't deal with it, or they just don't get it, or they don't want to get it. And they can say it's some mean things, but I'm not to say that it doesn't impact me. Of course it does. But I think, again, that's just part of the process. Not everyone's going to love you all the time, 100% of the time. And also it's the same with one's creative output, whatever that is.
So acceptance is part of it. As a movie director, you grow in many different levels.
Constantly.
Yeah. So it never stops. I mean, because you're always in the moment, in the scene, taking care of your team, feeling, this creativity that has to explode all the time to follow your,
But I love that though. That's the thing. I love being in that moment then, juggling with lots of different people. You know, I need that for me personally, that keeps my mind whirring, you know, and again, I try to do that to my best of my ability, the best I can give, you know, that's where the energy comes from. And again, there's different types of energy, especially in creative realm. You know, so if you're sitting at home, I mean, bear in mind also, like writing film scripts, for instance, or briefs, you know, that's a very solitary experience. You know, I've never been someone that's ever really written a script with anyone before. And I don't know if I can or if I'd really want to, but there is also that time where one has to be alone and sitting in a room, trying to knock something out for hours on end, staring at the screen, you know.
The famous mindful silence.
Right. I've struggled with that. So,
Jono, regarding your last project called...
Oh, right. That was called Forgive Me, Father. Yeah.
Yes. So what's the message you want to give? Because it has not been released yet. So Jono is here with us. He's going to release his short movie soon. Hopefully you're going to watch it. I've watched it already. Super nice, super amazing.
Thank you.
I really like it.
Thank you.
It's very intense. It's very artistic. I really like your style, Jono.
Thank you. You found it intense?
Very intense,
good.
Artistic.
Yeah.
And light-hearted also.
Good.
These love scenes, which are very soft, very nice. And then you have these strong flashes of intense emotions.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pleased because, you know, it's a very short film, you know.
Yes, but
it's a little chasm in someone's
message?
life.
Yes.
The message is that, hold on, how long you got? Right. Anxiety can affect everyone at different times of their life. Anxiety can seep into different realms of, you know, your lifestyle and consciousness. Sexual health is very important. Can I start again? Do you mind? Sorry, I need to just take it from the top. We're gonna have to edit this bit out. Sorry. Ask me the question. Ask me the question again. Sorry, because I've got so many answers with that, and I'm trying to succinctly put it for you, like in a nutshell.
Do you want to think 1 second about it? Or do you know?
Prompt the question again, and I'll do it. Sorry, I just wanted to give you the best answer for that. Also, just realised my flies are on.
So, Jono, regarding your last project.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I just took my flies up. Right. Just make sure you edit this bit out, right, Francie? Okay. All right, go. Okay, go for it.
Jenny, maybe we don't edit it. So, dear Jono, what's the meaning of your last project called?
Right, so it's called Forgive Me, Father.
Forgive Me, Father.
Yeah, and it's about a man in his late 20s, early 30s, not distinguishable, definable there as an age. And it's about him having multiple casual relationships with, you know, many different people. I leave people as the word there. Yeah. Because again, I didn't want to define the sexuality. I think that's really important there. Yes. So, but it's also about the fact that as much as he lusts after, you know, people, men and women, he also has thoughts of anxiety in regards to his sexual health. And he is concerned and worried that he might have something and he might be spreading it onto other people. And it's the anxiety about that. It's also the anxiety about waiting for the test results to come through. So obviously during COVID and the pandemic, people weren't able to have access to, you know, lots of different types of healthcare, but certainly sexual health as well. And they would therefore, as a workaround, send you a test kit in the post. And then, you know, you do the test and whatnot and post it back to them. So in one way, that's a good thing because obviously the accessibility was still there, but only to an extent. What you're missing is actually being able to go to speak to someone, you know, that, again, we're talking about that physical presence and that connection. And, you know, you feel like you're going there. They can, you know, assuage your fears, perhaps, where you can speak about certain experiences. I mean, again, the good thing is in regards to sexual health clinics is that they can offer that service as well, where it's not just about the testing, it's also about the
procedure, the anxiety before and after,
the briefing, you know, all that process that was gone during the pandemic. And so, you know, having these anxieties and these thoughts and fears, and, you know, during the lockdown, you know, you could feel incredibly isolated. So that's what that's about.
Absolutely. Our mind and body are deeply connected. So the message you want to spread in this movie is that being mentally healthy is not easy. Everyone, you know, has his struggles to find his peace, mind peace. So let's go through our mental problems with maturity, understanding that we are not the only ones. And so sometimes watching these short movies, for example, can make us feel good because we can feel understood. Being heard during this new generation, and has always been, is the most important thing ever. Because it's, even if we have a problem, if we are hurt, if we have been hurt, it goes away.
Yeah.
So these movies are meant to teach people and to tell people that these problems, we are aware that these problems are everywhere, and so they shouldn't feel so guilty to feel this kind of.
I mean, also, yeah, look after yourself. I mean, we're at the time now, I don't know when we're releasing this, but talking about releasing, the pubs will be back open again. People will be intermingling, you know, obviously people, and we're calling it the summer of sin. You know, I'm sure people will, single people will be having a lot of casual sex. But also there's the other element that you know, everything needs a balance in life. And therefore, you know, you should obviously get tested. And also, you can have these fears, these anxious thoughts. I mean, and again, not just in regards to sexual health, in regards to anxiety in general now. You know, I mean, as I said earlier, we're going through an unprecedented time, you know, once in a century pandemic. You know, none of us have lived through this, and we're still living through this every day. And, you know, as you said earlier, mental health is obviously so important. Everyone has mental health. And we also all need to constantly be working towards trying to keep that even keel. It's really important. And, you know, I struggle. You know, I struggle from day to day, from hour to hour. You know, we all do. We all do. I think everyone needs to be very honest and upfront about that.
Absolutely. In this case, last time, Jono, I did an amazing podcast about diversity. Diversity, as we know, can also mean perverse. The old meaning of diverse is perverse, because something perverse is something different, diverse. So people are quite scared of going deeper to the meaning of perversion, which is actually not scary at all. And so maybe don't you think that many people are anxious regarding these sexual activities or sexual fears, because they don't accept the meaning of perversion even in their head? So they should be more open-minded, mostly now that everyone is actually like going out of their gates. So they should look at it with another mindset. So there is no balance. Either it's something perverse, or either it's something super normal or boring.
Are you talking about, sex and behavior? Okay, fine. Okay, so you're talking about sorry. So are you talking about, do you want to start the question again? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Which question? Jono.
Yes.
So we were talking about anxiety over sex because of sexual desires. So as we know, I've been talking a lot about diversity last time during the podcast. It was very interesting. Diversity can also include the meaning of perversion. So don't you think this anxiety, this sexual anxiety we have, is because we don't accept the meaning of perversion of our crazy thoughts and crazy animal instincts? So if we should be more open-minded to feel less anxious.
Yeah, I think that is changing. I think for the younger generation, I think people are far more liberal and willing and open to trying sort of different sexual desires, for instance, than they ever have before. I mean, I can certainly say, you know, living in New York as a single man, that I've experienced my fair share of that. Because again, I mean, it's quite interesting actually in America. You know, women as well. I think they're very empowered. You know, in New York, and you know, I think it takes a certain type of lady to want to live and thrive in New York, and they're very independent. So it's quite interesting for me, because sometimes I felt like you know, how am I going to define this? Well, I felt like the prize dog. You know, it's like, bloody hell. It's incredible. I mean, I love this. You know, have ladies coming up to me. I think that's brilliant. I love that. You know, they want what they want. They know how to get it, and it's brilliant. And who am I to rebuff them? You know, who am I as an Englishman wearing a cravat at a bar? Yes. But I love that. I think, you know, it's great to be independent. It's great to be confident within oneself in regards to sex. You know, and there's nothing to be shameful of that area of life, you know, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So well, dear Jono.
I love that you're going to put me as a prize dog in New York.
What about
what a dog?
Yes. What about all this empowerment that the women are going through? Why do you think this is happening? Why women's behavior is changing so much? Over the last years? We cannot really see the difference anymore between the role that a man has and the role that a woman has. Do you think sex is involved? So do you think it comes from a sexual, security, so a sexual strength that women have, so they know what they want? Do you think this security in their behavior is coming from sex or not?
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I think society, we still maybe have a little way to go. You know, I mean, there's always room for maneuver and to progress. I think personally myself, like I've always seen women as the higher sex, actually. I've always very much valued them. I haven't come from that sort of chauvinistic mindset. You know, I mean, also, if you think about it, you know, your human brain is actually non-gendered, to be fair. There's no male or female brain or anything in between.
Yeah.
I've always found that very interesting. There's a bit of trivia there. But I mean, look, you know, I'm always fascinated by women. You know, I love them, and again,
even if they're super strong, like
everything. I mean, they inspire me. I mean, thank God for women. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, they do. And actually, funny enough, something that I'm writing right now, and it is a full-length feature, and it really is delving into the depths of obsession and love. And I'm also trying to be a lot more truthful and honest within myself as well as I become a little older.
Yeah.
And, you know, my views are coming a little bit more formulated. You know, I've had a little bit of time on the planet, so I've been able to gather some ideas and thoughts together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly is about that yearning for the other half.
Yes, because actually I've just remembered that you're super passionate about the Japanese culture, and Japanese women are very, very sexual, but they hide this strength, this empowerment, this power we were talking about before. So how would you, is it because of the culture that of course they have different approaches, but still they're very sexual, but they hide it. As a movie director, would you look for a character as a woman, as a sexual character? Would you look for a Japanese woman that is hiding this sexual energy, or would you go for a European?
Are you selling me a story here? Are you selling me a film? If this is what's happening?
How do you know?
Well, just to backtrack a little bit, I think when I'm writing film scripts, I might have someone in mind, a character in mind, but like when it comes to the casting process, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's just whoever works, whoever, you know, also whoever's around. But, you know, so I don't want to define characters by, you know, race. You know, I think it's really important to keep an open mind with that.
Sorry, I didn't mean by race. I want to precise it. But just culturally. Energetically. I was talking about the energy. Which energy would you prefer as you, Jono, the director?
Yeah.
Which character, which kind of personality would you prefer between a Japanese woman?
Because you're really defining this. Okay, yeah.
Or a European woman. I'm just curious because we have very different sexual energies. We open ourselves to the world in a very different way. So which kind of character would you choose? Because then I have a question for you.
Okay, but I don't think you could define it. I think there'd be two separate movies.
That's true.
Perfectly, and there'll be a lot in there.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No. But also, I think so. Going back to Japan, you know, I think it can be slightly difficult when we are from the Western approach, looking in almost at Japan and how they've structurally built their society. Again, actually, I would say that you know, Japan is a fantastic country, and I lived there for a period of time and worked there. You know, it was a fantastic experience that certainly molded me, and somehow the way I think as well. But you know, they have a lot to answer for in regards to, again, mental health. Mental health isn't really spoken about in Japan. You know, obviously, you know, it has one of the highest suicide rates in the world still, and that doesn't seem to be changing. And I don't think they have that openness in society that they're able to talk about, you know, mental health. I think, you know, it's hopefully that's changing, you know, hopefully maybe the young generation, maybe with the access of the internet,
That's why I think media, in this case movies, are the best vehicle to give messages without offending anyone, just to make things transparent.
I totally agree with you. I mean, the fact now that, you can watch films from all across the world.
It's like a tool for the world to spread messages and spread stories and magic.
It's brilliant. It really is. I mean, for me, the internet is my university. Without the higher education fees.
Yeah, as a curious person, internet can give you so much knowledge, but you have to be a curious person, otherwise it doesn't really help.
Oh, it's a whirlpool. You get lost in that. Yeah,
so many fake news, also so many fake information. So if you're a curious person, then curiosity brings you to the truth, because then you investigate, you analyze different, for example, newspapers, different, So how do you choose your film characters, Jono?
Well, it's the story. So again, it's the idea. The idea would be like a kernel, like in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It could be like a brief, a couple of lines. This happened to this person then, and I like to actually, just sort of backtracking a little bit. I like to know where I'm going to start and how I'm going to end. It's really important to know the ending. And then everything in between, that's workable. So the story comes first. And then, within the story, for me, the story, therefore, then dictates the characters. That's really important. So again, the film that we were speaking about, Forgive Me, Father.
The last project.
The last project, with that character, it doesn't have a name in the film, although on the script his name's Sebastian. But again, actually, the reason why I did that and I didn't call the character Dale, because obviously it could have just been Dale speaking, is that I wanted Dale to differentiate himself from the character. I didn't want it, again, these are very personal issues that I'm talking about. And I didn't want him to feel too close to the project there. I also, I didn't want to, upset anyone, or
you wanted to make it impersonal.
Yeah, I think so. I felt for that film, I felt that was the right thing to do. Although, there are film directors that have made, certainly a lot of art house movies where they keep the name of the actor as the character name.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite an interesting way about going about it.
Yeah.
Because also sometimes it's like when you're writing something creative and you've got to think of a name for someone, and you could literally be there for like 20 minutes going, are we going to call him Alan or Adam? Or maybe I'll do a quick Google search for popular baby names of 1988, or and like, does it matter? Does it not? I don't know. So, but going back to your original question, the story dictates and defines the characters.
Perfect. So of course, you are a writer, you become a writer, because a movie director has that many different roles at the same time. You are a writer, then you start creating the team, the technicians, all the technical things, and then you find the characters. Right?
Usually I start with the script first. Script, that's really important.
Yes.
And but as I said, because I've worked with other people previously before, there's already a team there of people that I can go, right, guys, I've got this, let's go. Let's do it. Let's go for it. If I can, again, sometimes there's projects that I have lined up or that I've pitched and I've been thankfully commissioned for, but it needs to take place in a few months' time, or they're not ready to, put the budget down. We don't need to talk about money, but there you go.
Yeah, the budget is, of course, one of the reasons why you choose certain people and not other certain people.
Absolutely. I mean, the budget defines everything else as well.
It's very sad. But
Well, yeah. I mean, you could always have bigger budgets, right? But that doesn't mean the film will be any better.
Yeah.
That short film that you saw was made on nothing. Made on the good grace of people wanting to create something.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you could chuck, 100,000 at it, would it be any better? Perhaps, maybe marginally so.
Yeah. And Jono, what would you, along your interviews before, making the movie, you interview people, you choose people. What about if you fell in love with a character, but then it's not the perfect character for your movie?
An actor?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What
would you do in this case? If you really like the person, but it's not the perfect personage for the movie that you're working on.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario. Are you proposing to be an actor?
Yes, actually, now that you asked me, no, I'm joking. I'm gonna interview John. I'm gonna interview every movie you're gonna do.
Appreciate that. Look, I think you've got to be very careful, actually. I think you've got to be very, very careful. I think, you know, everything that's happened over the last couple of years, you know, with Weinstein, for instance, and all that. Now, again, I'm not involved in that, you know, Hollywood, I mean, I'd like to be, again, multi-million-dollar productions, but still the same essence goes throughout anything in regards to any sort of creative arts, where you have to have respect for people and also respect for yourself as well. And so with the Floating Gold film that I did, which was released in March, I think, we were casting for that. That was in the autumn. And I did put out a brief on lots of different casting websites as well. And we had like a bunch of modeling agencies send models that could also act as well, because obviously it was for a fashion brand. So we're looking for certain types of aesthetic there. I was very careful to make sure that that people that were approaching me for a role, I wasn't being swayed by the fact that I might find them attractive.
No.
I think that's really, really important. If anything, actually, fancying someone on set or fancying someone in any creative sphere can actually cause a lot of problems. I'd rather not have to deal with that, if I'm honest with you. You know, there's so many other problems that one has to deal with. The idea of also, you know, having the hots for someone on set is not something that I want to be going down. But sometimes, obviously, it can't be helped, you know. But then I think just really respect for the other and yourself is really important.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, there is this beautiful project that is going to release soon, Jono, and along another session, we are going to interview what this beautiful character that Jono chose for the movie, and we're going to go a bit behind the scenes, asking people what they were thinking while they were acting during this movie, why this message is so powerful, how can they interpret this deep meaning during a movie. So we're gonna go all through that with Jono next time.
Thank you very much. I'm really flattered, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, Jono. I couldn't wait to interview. So we leave all the rest for the other interview because there is so much to say. And Jono, thank you so much again. Let's say hi to our friends.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi and bye. Thank you very much for watching.